Hello everyone, I'm Renowned Zero and we are back again talking about how Visa and MasterCard are reportedly censoring video games alongside the Australian activist group called Collective Shout. Now for the people that don't know what Collective Shout is, it is a group over in Australia that is trying to censor any sort of games that may be questionable for a lot of people, but in my opinion, they should be allowed to exist on the Steam platform. People should be allowed to buy them if you so choose to do so. More than likely, most of these I will not be purchasing or be okay with looking at, and I could easily moderate the content that I see on Steam just like anybody else can. But I'm always going to be against any sort of censorship because it should be allowed to exist and you should be allowed to purchase it as a grown adult. You should be able to buy whatever you want with your money as a grown adult as long as you earn it. So let's get in this article here from that Park Place. It says Visa and MasterCard are reportedly censoring video games alongside activist groups like Collective Shout. In a digital age where video games represent a multi-billion-dollar industry, blending art, entertainment, and expression, a new front in the battle over content control has emerged. Payment processors like Visa and MasterCard, wielding immense economic leverage, are increasingly dictating what games can be sold on platforms like Steam, effectively censoring the video game industry. At the heart of this controversy is Collective Shout, an Australian feminist activist group that has positioned itself as the catalyst, pressuring these financial giants to enforce moral standards on global gaming. As of July 21st, 2025, this alliance has led to the removal of hundreds of adult-themed games, sparking outrage over free speech, cultural imperialism, and corporate overreach. This isn't just about niche content, it's a symptom of a broader trend where private companies act as de facto censors, bypassing governments and courts. While proponents frame it as a victory for child safety and against exploitation, even though parents should be watching their kids and watching what type of content they consume, we are now in a digital age where parents typically just put a tablet in front of their child and let the tablet teach the child rather than the parents being a parent. Critics argue it's selective moralism that ignores real harms while targeting fictional works, potentially paving the way for wider restrictions on creative freedom. This controversy surrounding Visa and MasterCard supposedly censoring video games ignited in mid-July of 2025 when Valve, the company behind Steam, the world's largest PC gaming platform, updated its publishers' guidelines to prohibit, quote, content that may violate the rules and standards set forth by our payment processors and or banking partners. Again, you should not be bending the knee to any sort of payment processor or banking partner or giant corporation. Screw the giant corporations. Almost immediately, nearly 500 games, primarily Japanese visual novels and adult-style titles tagged with controversial themes, were delisted. Valve confirmed that credit card companies, including Visa and MasterCard, had flagged these games as violative of their internal policies, threatening to disrupt payment processing if they weren't removed. This wasn't isolated. Developers reported similar pressures on other platforms with payment holds and content bans rippling through indie scenes. In Japan, where many affected games originate, lawmakers like Taro Yamada have launched investigations into whether these actions constitute unfair trade practices, viewing them as an assault on cultural exports. Nier creator Yoko Taro publicly decried the changes, stating they demonstrate how one country's standards can censor another country's free speech. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, essentially government overreach. Enter Collective Shout, a supposed grassroots organization founded in 2009 to combat the objectification of women in media. This is the same activist group that apparently is upset that big boobs exist in mature-rated video games, by the way. Like Halo and, I believe, Dead or Alive. Anything with Dead or Alive. Based in Australia, a nation with stringent content laws, the group has a history of successful campaigns, including pressuring retailers like Target to pull GTA 5 from shelves in 2014 over what they deemed inappropriate elements. In this case, Collective Shout openly claimed responsibility for Steam's purge, boasting of reducing specific game tags from nearly 500 to 82. MasterCard and Visa are coming for Steam games despite being payment processors. If the censorship does include the coffin of Andy and Lele, it'll become personal. Collective Shout behind the attacks on Steam and games through MasterCard and Visa. Remember them in case they come up after your games next. Being based in censor-happy Australia already disqualifies them for having a say. 100%. 100%. They should not have any say in anything on Steam. At all. Their strategy, bypassing platforms and developers to target payment processors directly. By flooding Visa, MasterCard, and even PayPal with complaints, petitions, and accusations of facilitating quote-unquote violent content, Collective Shell exploited the company's brand protection policies. Drawing on feminist theories that equate such content with real crimes, the group framed these games not as fiction, but as enablers of criminal activity. Again, if you cannot separate reality from fiction, you need to be taught the difference between reality and fiction. This is what parents do for children. They teach children right from wrong, and they teach them the difference between reality and fiction. And besides that, a lot of these adult-themed games, they're not for protecting children because they shouldn't be playing these games anyway. They celebrate the bans as a quote-unquote victory against corn-sick, brain-rotted, corno gamer fascists, while reporting backlash including threats and harassment, which I'm pretty sure they're going to show us some proof, right? They're going to go show some kind of receipts, right? Newsflash, they don't. Their policies prohibit facilitating quote-unquote high-risk content, even in fantasy. This financial deplatforming echoes past actions. In 2021, MasterCard imposed strict moderation on adult subscription websites, leading to content purges on Patreon and Gumroad. In Japan, Visa's local CEO justified blocking legal content for brand protection, quote-unquote, in late 2024. By threatening to withhold services, these processes forced platforms like Steam into compliance, as losing them could cripple revenue. Europe's antitrust curbs on Visa and MasterCard offer a precedent, but in the US and elsewhere, their power remains unchecked, raising monopoly concerns. This censorship wave disproportionately hits Japanese creators whose cultural norms around fiction differ from Western ones. It echoes globalization, quote-unquote, pressures where US-based companies impose standards on international content akin to past localization edits in anime and manga. Fire all localization people. Fire all of them. Fears abound that it won't stop at niche games. Mainstream titles like Grand Theft Auto could be next if these themes draw scrutiny. Historically, Collective Shell's tactics mirror those of moral panics from the 1980s video game scares to recent pushes against quote-unquote harmful media, yet evidence linking fictional content to real harm remains debated. Most studies always saying there is no link between the two. The response has been swift and fierce. A Change.org petition urging Visa, MasterCard, and activist groups to start controlling what we can watch, read, or play has garnered thousands of signatures. Influencers like Moist Critical and Nasman Gold have amplified calls for antitrust action against the payment duopoly. On X, users decry the moves as Australian radicalism, imposing on global platforms, with some tagging Elon Musk for intervention via X's potential payment system. A YouTuber raised over $740 for the ACLU in an anti-censorship fundraiser highlighting community resistance. Gamers advocate boycotts, prepaid cards, or alternative processors while developers explore blockchain or indie marketplaces. Again, there should be no government overreach. Adults should be able to buy what they want with their money. As investigations unfold in Japan and petitions gain steam, the future hinges on regulatory pushback. Antitrust probes could break Visa and MasterCard's grip, while new laws might protect artistic expression from financial vetoes. And yes, your artistic expression should be protected from government overreach or payment processor overreach. Until then, Collective Shell's role as catalyst underscores a troubling truth. In a cashless world, payment processors hold the keys to culture. It's really scary in an all-digital age. This saga isn't just about games, it's about who controls the narrative in a connected world. As Yoko Taro warned, unchecked censorship risks erasing diverse voices one transaction at a time. So yes, there should be no censorship on any of these games. I don't care whether you like the games or not. People should be able to express their artistic vision in any way they choose. If you choose not to see the content, you can circumvent the content and you don't have to see it. You also don't have to purchase it, but it should be allowed to exist because censorship is terrible and it could lead to bigger and broader forms of censorship in all in the name of quote-unquote protecting my children. It's never about that. It's never been about that and never going to be about that. So it's always a shield and always a cop-out to say that they're doing it to protect children. Meanwhile, the adults should be adults and teach their children not to get those things, or at least keep them shielded from that type of content, because they're supposed to parent their children and not just sit them in front of a tablet. But thank you all for checking out this video. I really do appreciate all the new subscribers, returning subscribers, new viewers, and returning viewers. If you do like this video, smash the like button, comment below if you feel well this, subscribe for more content, hit the bell for notifications, set the bell to all. That way you'll get a notification anytime I post a new video or go live on the channel, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.